Welcome.
Jeff, you might.
Career coach and resume writer for entrepreneurs and executives. She has helped hundreds of clients all over the world find their epic next job since she started in 2007. She's also a LinkedIn specialist helping leaders, executives, entrepreneurs, contractors, and consultants attract a steady flow of qualified job leads. So I'd like to ask everybody to give a warm welcome to Lori Howard. Lori?
Hey there, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get into it right away. I have about 30 minutes or so of material, so I want to make sure we get to cover as much ground as possible here. So let's see if I can make this work. No, this one. And if you have any trouble with anything, put it in the chat box and Laura can let me know.
Okay.
So, okay, so my name is Lori Howard. We're here to talk about, tonight I'm going to share with you 3 keys for freelancers to get more leads with LinkedIn. And I'm just going to get right into it here. So first, I want to make sure that you're in the right place, that this is going to be beneficial for you. I thought that might be a helpful place to start. So if you're a freelance writer, which I'm assuming all of you have some toe in that pool right now, and you want to find more opportunities using LinkedIn and ideally be able to have access to kind of on-demand leads really and opportunities in LinkedIn. If you're not sure how to create an online reputation and positioning that separates you from the hobbyists, the people who are sort of interested in writing but not professional writers and experienced as you are. If you're worried about more competition during and after the coronavirus, as unemployment goes up, I think we'll all discover that more and more people are starting to toss their hat in the ring and think, well, maybe I could do some writing. I could do that while I'm between jobs. So if you want to make sure you stand out as the qualified person for a job during this period, and if you want to learn exactly what to do on LinkedIn to make it work for you today, LinkedIn, as you may have discovered if you've used it for any length of time, changes constantly. I'm in here almost every day, and once a week I stumble upon something new and different. And so the information I'm sharing with you tonight is current as of July 2020. And if you're super busy and don't have a ton of time to invest hours and hours a day in yet another strategy to try to get more leads, and you want fast results with a limited time investment, this is definitely the right place for you. So I'm going to quickly go through the agenda that I have mapped out for this presentation. One, I want to reinforce and just kind of revisit why you should be using LinkedIn today. If you aren't already convinced after you see the statistics that have been changing even since the pandemic has begun and COVID-19 has more and more people working remotely. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Then I'm going to get into very quickly the 3 keys so that you can get gigs on demand using LinkedIn. And then I'm going to give you a really easy, simple, straightforward strategy that you can apply to make sure that you show up on LinkedIn as one of the preferred and recommended writers when people search for someone with your qualifications. And then we'll have some time for Q&A after that. And then we can go on about our evening, and hopefully after all of this, you're going to be able to transform how you're leveraging LinkedIn. So first, have a little bit of, I know we all would like to escape the news of what's going on in the world, but we need to at least deal with some of the facts as they are right now, which is, and we're all experiencing that in varying ways. We've just had our first global pandemic in a very long time, and in the at a time when the world is more connected than it's ever been. We're able to travel quickly from continent to continent, and so everything has spread really quickly. And as a result, economists all agree at this point that we are entering a recession unlike any other. In June, there were nearly 15 million fewer jobs than in February. So that means there are that many more people out there trying to find additional work, and that you could ultimately end up competing against, even though you are more experienced and more professional and have more to offer than these people might. The US GDP dropped by nearly 40% in the second quarter. That's kind of depressing. And the Congressional Budget Office projects that unemployment is going to remain high throughout 2021. That's probably not a big surprise to any of us, but that makes all of this even more important than it has been. And ultimately, what we all are experiencing and we're all aware of pretty much every day at this point is the future remains uncertain and unpredictable. Now, the good news in all of this is that LinkedIn has established an even stronger foothold and has established itself as a resource that's here to stay and a resource that's here and to help us as we move forward. In fact, Microsoft launched some new things just last week and introduced some resources and features that they're offering globally with the specific intention of supporting our economy and our careers collectively as we move forward through this pandemic and beyond. And that's fantastic news for all of us, because that means this resource isn't going anywhere. And in fact, it has more of a presence now than it did, 6 months ago. So a couple of things you might want to keep in mind when you think about whether or not it's worth using LinkedIn. LinkedIn currently has over 610 million members. That's as of this month. 90 million senior level influencers and 63 million decision makers use LinkedIn. These are the people that you ultimately want to be connecting with. That's the category you want to be connecting with, because those are the people who have work available and gigs available for you to do, for you to apply for. 92% of Fortune 500 companies now use LinkedIn. 92%. That's like 8 away from 100. That is a massive increase over what it's been in the past. 97% of B2B marketers are using LinkedIn as a content distribution channel. That means whatever else you're doing, you as a writer should be using it as well to distribute your own content, establish your reputation as an expert and as a skilled professional, as a writer who's available for working. And LinkedIn is responsible for 80% of B2B leads from social media. And all of the work that you're doing is gig work. I would say 98% of it is probably B2B, you being one business and you marketing your services to another business to look to get hired for the projects that they have. So if you're going to use any form of social media, you need to be using LinkedIn. Now, one thing I want to note is that one of the things Microsoft said in the presentation I saw them give last week is they're moving beyond having a reputation as a social media platform and moving into becoming the established platform for professional relationships and career support for everyone, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're an independent contractor, freelance worker, a small business, or a large corporation. LinkedIn is positioning itself to be of service and support to everyone. And that's good news. That's fantastic news for everyone here, because you can take advantage of this. Now, a little bit about me. These are things that Jeff shared with you earlier. I am an executive career coach for leaders and executives. I also work with a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners. I've helped hundreds of clients all over the world find their epic next job ever since 2007. And I'm a LinkedIn specialist. And I work with leaders and executives as well as entrepreneurs, contractors, and consultants to help them make the most of LinkedIn to get the kind of work and jobs they're after. Here's just a list of my credentials. I'm not going to read these to you. I show these to you so that you can see I have a college degree and I have committed to my career and sought out certifications in education to make sure that I can be of the most service and value to my clients. I'm also the creator of the Epic Next Job system, where I help my clients be seen, make an impact, and get the income they desire. I walk them through 5 steps to help them land their epic next job. One of the resources in that process, one of the steps, is helping them with their LinkedIn profile. Here are just some things that my clients have said about me. I'm not going to read through all this. This is just available for your reference. What's the point of all of that? The point is, I want to make sure you understand through all of that I know what I'm doing, and I know that what I'm about to teach you works. It has worked for my clients. It will work for you. So let's just dive in now and get into these 3 keys. So let's get into key number 1 right away. Key number 1 is there are so many new features in LinkedIn. There are existing features that have been tweaked. I could spend quite possibly days talking about all the things you could do on LinkedIn. I am not going to do that. I went through all the work that I have done for clients and the newest research and information available from Microsoft on LinkedIn to identify the most important sections. If you do nothing else but use these 3 keys, you will come out ahead. Hands down, no doubt, absolutely no doubt in my mind. So I've chosen the most impactful things that you can do to make the most of LinkedIn. So the first thing you want to do is use what I call crucial sections. Now, all of you are writers, right? So you are probably familiar with the term that we used to use back in newspaper days of above the fold. Resume writers use it when we talk about developing a resume. People who develop and design websites talk about above the fold when they're writing copy. Top half, first page, you got to get people's attention and keep it and engage them, or they're never going to pick up the paper. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to continue reading. So that's what we're focusing on. The sections that show up above the fold in your LinkedIn profile. They are the most important sections you can fill out. So the first one, that's a section that's been there for a while. That's the headline. That's that section at the top. And I'm going to shift over, and part of this presentation, I'm going to shift over and show you in LinkedIn Live in this moment what these things look like. One of the reasons I'm doing that and not screenshots is because it could change. Now, it's probably not going to change dramatically over the next week, but I wanted to make sure I'm showing you what's absolutely current. So when it comes to the headline, there are a couple of things I want you to keep in mind. Unlike other things you write, in LinkedIn, and keep in mind, LinkedIn has its own search engine. So what comes with that is you want to make sure that you are using keywords and key phrases, terms that people would search for to find someone who does what you do. So they're not just looking for a writer, they're looking for specific types of writing help or editing help. So you want to keep that in mind. You also then, that means you want to take advantage of the space available and make the most of it. So the headline has 120 characters available. You will hear me say repeatedly, use all the characters you can. And that doesn't mean you have to use all 120, but I want you to get as close as you can. Now I want you to use keywords and search terms, not taglines. Clever taglines don't show up in anyone's search result. Now, if you have a tagline that you really like, you can put it in the banner, that image, the LinkedIn banner, you can put it right in there. You can put it in your about section somewhere. Just don't use it as your headline. And the other thing is be really clear about what you're offering. So you can talk about that you're a writer. You can talk about the kinds of industries or specialties that you offer. You can even speak to benefits. Now I'm going to show you some examples of a couple of different headlines I found. Now, first, I want to say, as writers, you will do this better than any other client I could have. My writing clients, like, you guys are rock stars when it comes to writing the content. Once you know the rules, once you understand what's happening and what the structure of LinkedIn is, you're more able than anyone else to make it sound good and appropriate than any other client that I have, and certainly better than I could ever write. But I'm still going to show you a couple of things that I found. Now, that being said, I find a lot of writers, I went to hunt down some good writer profiles today. I had a really hard time. I found a couple of examples of some things I like. But part of that's not because those people aren't good writers, it's because they don't understand the structure behind what's working behind the scenes, what the system and the methodology and the algorithms LinkedIn is using, and what kind of the secret rules are to make sure you come out on top. So I'm going to give you a quick example. So here's my profile. I am not a writer, but I want to show you kind of the formula I use to write my headline. So I use my headline, and I might mix it up every 2 to 3 months. I use it as a way of targeting a specific market that I want to target in terms of seeking out potential clients. So right now I'm targeting technology leaders and executives with my LinkedIn profile. So I have a very simple model. I tell people, I say I'm helping technology executives and leaders. That's who I'm So people who are tech executives and leaders know when they see this that I'm talking to them. So you might have a specific audience in mind who might look to hire you. I help them find their epic next job. That's what I do for them. And that's kind of the problem that they're looking to solve. And then I help them to increase their impact, income, and visibility. That's the outcome. That's the benefits of working with me. That's one approach. You can make it an actual active phrase that says, here's what I do. I'm going to switch to, I'm going to take a look. Jeff gave me permission to comment on and critique and use his profile as a sample. And so I'm doing that. Now, a couple of things I like about Jeff's headline. It says freelance writer, writing and editing consultant. That's what people are going to search for. That's great. The other thing I noticed right away, he has not used all 120 of his characters. So my recommendation, Jeff, is to go ahead and add more words in, add more things, because you are missing an opportunity to give people some search terms and descriptors about what you do. I did notice, and we'll look at this in a moment, you have some of that information in your about section. You can also put it in your headline. It doesn't hurt to have information duplicated. Now I found one headline that was okay, and I thought might be an interesting example for you to see. I don't know this person. I just went hunting on LinkedIn for writers. She's done a couple of things that I like. So she took her last name and made it, she put her writer and editor. So in LinkedIn, in the settings, her last name is Harlan, comma, writer and editor. That's something else you could do to quickly give like a quick description of what your profession is. Then she went to her headline and she's got writing, then the little vertical line, editing, vertical line, marketing, corporate and technical communications. Now that's pretty specific about what kind of thing she does. So already I now have a clearer idea of what kinds of writing she might do and what she specializes in. She's also a certified professional resume writer. That's something else people might search for. So that's and this is what I'm talking about. And I believe from looking at this, she's pretty close to using her full 120 characters. So she's done a good job of highlighting a couple of things that she wants to market at the moment in terms of specific services as a writer. And these are also great keywords that people might search for. So that's an example of another way to take advantage of this section. So that's really the headline. And if you address those elements in the headline, it will work much better for you. It will be clear to the system, the LinkedIn search engine, as well as any person who's doing searching and reading it. It will be very clear for them as well. Now, the next section, that's one of your crucial sections, is the about section. This used to be called the summary section. Now, the about section is 2,000 characters. And by now you must know I'm going to say, use as many of those as you can. That's a huge opportunity to do several things. As a writer, it's the perfect opportunity for you to demonstrate your skill as a writer by using those 2,000 characters to say some things about what you do, who you do it for, and how you can help people so that they know what to reach out to you for. Now, the opening line is the most important element. So in this about section, one thing you'll notice, if I go to Jeff's profile, right, the first two lines display. He has more than that written, but the first two lines display by default. So when it comes to talking about above the fold, we have the headline, and then there's this highlight section, which is a LinkedIn thing. You don't have any control over that. But then you have the about section and you have the top couple of lines. So without doing anything, people see this right away. Same thing on this person's headline. You see a couple of lines, that's it. Those are the most important words in your profile. So you want to use the whole section, but you really want to make sure those first couple of lines are the powerful lines. Those are the ones that you want to spend the most time on and be really clear about what you do and who you do it for. Now, here is a line, like I said, I know you all are writers. You're going to be able to turn this into something really compelling. This is usually the first draft version I have my clients write. Some people just stay with this version. Other people then are able to take this and edit it and turn it into something more compelling. So it starts with, I help who. So who are you helping to solve problem X or achieve result Y? So what are you helping them do? by doing Z. So the who is who you're helping, the X or Y is what you do, and Z is how you do it. So I usually start with this as a format for that 2 to 3 lines, and then recommend that you take it and edit it and make it really your own. But this is that short, sweet, pithy statement about who you are, what you offer, and what you're helping people with to get them to want to keep reading. In lines 3 to 5, so right after that, I like to put a call to action or an invitation. Now, depending on how you run your practice and your freelance work, your call to action may just be, please email me and let's talk. Great. Put that right there on the 3rd line. Email me at. I like to list the email address. You'll see I do this. I don't do it right away in my about section. But I'm a big fan of but you'll see I have my contact information at the end. Right now I have a different call to action up here. I used to have something in the 3rd line that said, reach out to me if you want to talk more. You can also, I noticed that in Jeff's profile, in his about section, he referenced his portfolio, an online portfolio. I would either invite people to have a conversation or put the link to the portfolio right there. You want things to be as convenient for people as possible. So that's one of the reasons I recommend you put your contact information somewhere in your about section, because otherwise I have to click on contact information and then I have to go look you up. And that's too many clicks. So if someone likes you well enough, that's why you also want to keep that call to action near the top. So it's minimal effort for them to reach out to you and find out more. Okay. Then now this is sort of this may end up breaking some of your rules of writing. You want to make it readable. That means I recommend you limit, and Jeff has done a great job of this, limit your paragraphs to no more than like 3 to 5 lines, because you want people to be able to come in here and quickly scan your profile and read it as quickly as possible. The more scannable it is, just to a human eye, the more likely they are to read everything that you've written. The other thing I recommend is using special characters. Now you will see I went kind of crazy with the special characters. I have stars, I have check marks, I have little earths, little globes, I have a 1, 2, 3. That may be a bit much. I copied my profile template from someone else and then adapted it to me. The only way to get special characters in LinkedIn is to copy them from somewhere else. So if you want to go through my profile, you'll see I've been a little crazy and I clearly haven't cleaned that up. So you will find probably one of everything in my profile, which you can copy and paste into yours. One of the reasons I like the special characters is you can see it's easier to read, right? It's all about how quickly can someone scan. These things help draw the eye down the page. And again, you as writers are going to be able to write much more compelling text than I am. And you can write even a little mini paragraph about each kind of writing that you do and each service that you provide. You could also talk about special skills you have, industries you work in, types of writing you do. Maybe you do fiction and nonfiction, and what kinds. Maybe you've won awards or have some key achievements you want to highlight. That's all great information to put in your about section. And again, keep in mind, the more keywords and phrases you're using that people might search for, this is a great place to saturate with keywords in that way. One of the other things I really like to put in here is I like to have, and I recommend you put right down here at the end of my profile, you'll see a contact me if you section. So this lets me spell out who I'm interested in hearing from. So this right now, this is written to target a specific type of client. You might want to specify a couple of different types of writing gigs you're interested, or some potential partnership. But it's nice to have the contact me if you section. It makes it clear to people that you want to be contacted, that you are open to speaking with people about certain kinds of things, and then put your contact information right there at the end so that they go, oh yes, let me reach out to this person with ease. So that's the about section. Second most important section on here after the headline. Now, the third section that you may have heard about, the about summary section, the about formerly summary. I think they may bring back the name summary. So whatever it's called at the moment, this one you want to fill out. The third most important section is new. And it is one of my favorite sections. It is called the featured section. They rolled it out very slowly to all their users. It is the perfect place for you to showcase samples of your work. And I like to think of it as an opportunity for a mini portfolio. Now I'm going to show you my profile and what you can do with this. So you will see after the About section, so if I refresh my screen here, and again, we're looking at my profile as me, so that's what all that little edit pencils are about. I don't think I have the ability to look at my profile as a third-party person. But you'll see, you know, I've got the headline right here, got my About section, then bam, the featured section, all right there. You are in total control of what's in this featured section, which is what's so great about it. You can add posts. So if you have posted something to LinkedIn that you want people to know about, you can add that here. You can add articles that you've published on LinkedIn. You can give a link to a website. So for Jeff, I would say add your portfolio link right here and make it front and center at the top of your page so people can find it right away. You can also upload any other kind of document, photos, PDF files, presentations, Word documents, whatever you wish. So it's a really good place for writers to upload samples of things they want to showcase. This is a place to showcase your work. And that's what I love about this. Now, I would again be mindful of, as you can see, only 1 or 2 of these show up at the top without people having to click something to see more. So I would think carefully about what you want that most impactful piece to feature. And you can change these regularly. You know, I have too many in here right now. If you look at my list, it is far too long because I've been experimenting with it to see what I could do. So I have many things in here. No one's ever going to look at all these, and it might be a little too much. But I wanted to leave this in here so you could see what kinds of things are in here. The other thing you can do, and this is, I admit this is my favorite thing to do with this because I don't think they really thought about this being one of the benefits. Right now, if you look at my profile, or, you know, let's look at Jeff's profile, you know, recommendations all the way at the bottom of the page. Well, that's annoying. Like, I want people to see the good things people have said. So what you can do, one of the things I've done is I did this. I took a picture. I literally tracked down, I went to my LinkedIn profile, picked out the ones that are really good recommendations people have written. I have some other things people have emailed me. I have a client who had a letter and a note card written by someone famous who wrote like a handwritten letter of recommendation for her. She took a picture of it, uploaded it here, and it is featured on her featured section. So it's a way to showcase the recommendations and the testimonials and the and just the positive things people have said about your work that you want to highlight. You could put you could put a whole list of them in this section. And I would just make sure again that the first thing listed is the one that you feel is most impactful. But you can set these up, rearrange them. This is one of the coolest features because you, as the profile owner, are in total control of what that says. And this gives you a real, this gives you a strong way to control the impact of, you know, you're really able to construct your credibility elements and bolster your credibility by having these 3 elements here. So use crucial sections. That's the thing that is most important, right? That's #1 key. You want to, and again, that was the headline, the About section, and this new featured section. And once you get them set up, so useful to you. You can use that information in lots of places. Let's look at the second key. Now I want to showcase your company. Now, some of you may already know that as a freelancer, you are your company. Some of you may have incorporated, may have set up an LLC. You may work for a small company. You may run a small company. Some of you may be going, what are you talking about, Lori? I'm a freelancer. I do 1099 contract work. I don't have a company. You are your company. LinkedIn has expanded the use of their company page so that freelancers, sole proprietors, 1099 contractors, can take advantage of the value and of having a company page and use it as a real credibility builder. And it creates the perception that you are more professional and more committed to your work than someone who doesn't have a company page. So we're going to quickly, I told Jeff I would set one up for him really quickly just to show you how it works. So we're going to do that really fast here. All you need to do, you'll need some kind of logo, and you'll see that Jeff didn't have one, so I made one up for him. Yeah. And you'll see it's really simple and straightforward. There will be nothing fancy about it, but it will look better than the default that LinkedIn does if you don't have a company page. Then you're going to repurpose this headline and about section that you just wrote. Great. Now you're getting extra value out of that. And then you're just going to post a few things, and that'll be that. So let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come out here. And so first thing I'm going to do is go to the work section. And I'm going to go to create company page. And Jeff, I'm probably going to ask you a couple of questions here. What would you like your page? Do you have a name? Do you have a name you would like your business/page called? I was thinking we'd just call it Jeffrey Steele Writer.
I'd call it Steel International.
Steel International, and I have to spell your last name correctly, don't I?
How about US Steel? No, just kidding.
No.
Yeah.
Steel International. I did not, your logo has your name on it, but that's okay. We can fix that later. So look, already it's created a custom URL, public URL for your page. Do you have a website, or is your website your portfolio?
My website's my portfolio.
Okay, so I'm going to go pull that link out of here. And I'm going to just plop that in here. There we go. Your industry, writing and editing, is the industry. I'm assuming you don't have employees. Company type, are you considered sole proprietorship, self-employed?
Yes, sole proprietor.
Great. Now, I made up a logo so that I would have something to show here. So let's, and we can tweak that to reference Steel International, but I made up, look, Jeffrey Steele. And this is actually, so there's a little tiny logo for you.
Good.
See, there it is. Now, if you have a tagline, we can use that. We don't have to have one. It's up to you. Do you want a tagline? Do you have something you use as a tagline at the moment?
No, nothing I use. I just, I have to explain it.
Yep. Okay, great. So we don't need one at the moment. So we're just going to write this. And then what I want to do is, so what I might do here, so here's where I would, now at some point we'll want to add some kind of cover page, but at the moment, which I forgot about earlier today, so I did not create one of those. This is pretty much the other thing I would do. So we have description. So in the about section, here's what I would do. I would go to this about section. I would say, oh, this is fantastic. We're going to copy the about section. And then we'll come over here and we'll say, hey, that's my description. And then the other thing, you can put a phone number if you want to. You can put the year founded if you want to. You can add specialties if you want to. And now, did I go over? Description is required. Let's see what happens. Great. And I think what I might do is make your tagline will be, for the moment, a good use for a tagline is your headline. So you can keep it, and the nice thing about keeping it consistent is that people then know it's the same person and the same thing. And you now have a company page. And I think what I need to do is add, so I can view it as a member. This is what your business page looks like. Right? Awesome. And you can change this banner, and it's fantastic. And then you can start posting in here. I need to add you, well, you will add you in a moment as a,
Thank you.
so I'm going to set you up as an admin also because it's your page. And I might do this, let's see, manage admins. Can I do that? No, let's see. There we go. So you're now an admin of your own page. I'm sure I'd be pleased to know that. And that's it. That is how easy it is to set this up. I'm done. So then what Jeff will do is he will go And this is where you'll use it. So see how next to self-employed in Jeff's profile, it shows this little gray box. This is what LinkedIn does when it has no idea what your company is. And it makes it look like, and it does that for any company that doesn't seem to exist. And when you're self-employed, it looks like you're just pinch hitting until you can get a job. That's not a fair assumption, but it's an assumption people make. So Jeff will come in here and change his employer in here to be the company, Steel International, and then this logo will show up on his profile. And if you look at mine, you'll see that this is my logo, this is my business page, and my business page says awfully similar things to my personal profile. Same headline. My headline is my tagline. My banner is the banner. That's it. And here's the logo I put in there. Now, the one thing I recommend is that once a month, you come out and put some kind of content, post something in your, on your page. And the reason you want to do that is if someone, because you're not really going to get a large attendance to your business page, you don't really care if you get people out there. It just bolsters your credibility on the personal profile. And if they do come out to your page, you want them to see some recent content. So I recommend you come out here once a month and just post something. Something original, preferably, that you post on your company page.
Excuse me, Lori.
Yes.
How can they go from your, if they find your profile, how do they know you have a business page?
Because they will come down, like if you look at my profile, let's go back where I was.
Mm-hmm.
All you do, so this is the company I currently work for, Lori Howard Coaching.
Okay.
So I click on that, I can click on the icon and it will take me to my company page,
Okay.
or take whoever. So that's how, because now you can click on that link and it'll go somewhere. If I did that now on like Jeff's profile, where it doesn't, you know, one of these that doesn't have one, it's not going to go anywhere. And this way you keep, even if they're in your profile, you're still keeping their attention because they're not going out somewhere else to look for someone else who might, you know, now they're not going, oh, well, let's see who else is a freelance writer. Let me check out them. They're still contained within your, in things that you've controlled and set up. So, and that's how simple it is to set up a company page, and it adds so much value and credibility. It's one of those credibility elements that you can now add to your LinkedIn profile. So let's talk about the third key. This is something I'm assuming many of you are already doing, that you're already engaging with leads that you find. I just want to remind you, because I have had some encounters even today. Somebody said, hey, I saw your post. You interested in what I have to offer? Don't do that. Make sure that you remember these are professional relationships you're developing. So whether that person has work for you now or later, you want to focus on the relationship first. Be helpful, be supportive of them, get to know them, at least indicate that you've made an effort to get to know them before you ask them if they have work for you. Now, the situation is different if they actually have an opening and you're applying for that, or you're seeking information about that. But if you're working to make connections on LinkedIn, just remember it's about the relationship first. Then I recommend that you respond to any incoming messages you get daily on LinkedIn. You want to be responsive. If you ignore it, you won't get, it's one of those things where if you don't actually pay attention to the messages you get, LinkedIn will slow down recommending you as someone to connect with, and you'll work against yourself. Now, I want to talk about how you can find leads on LinkedIn. So there are lots of ways to do this. There are different ways to find work. I want to talk about just in terms of one of the things that people don't necessarily think of. So in the free version of LinkedIn, you can search your leads and reach out to first connection contacts. So anyone connected to your first connections, you can ask for a connection to. I think you can even reach out to them directly. It's tedious, but it's worth a little bit of effort each day to kind of go out and check and see who might be interesting to connect with. The other thing you can do, oh, hello, what happened here? Oops. There we go. And I find this really interesting, you can search by company. So I can come out and let's say there's a specific company I think might have some opportunities I'm interested in. So I might come out to, I can do search by company. I'm going to search for Boeing because I know Boeing is downtown and I'm kind of fascinated by them at the moment because they're laying lots of people off. I don't know why that fascinates me. I think it's just because I have some clients who work there or used to work there. So I can come out, now you can come out and see if they have writer jobs available. I did this earlier and found out there's a couple of technical writer jobs available at Boeing. So I just searched for writer and went, oh, look at that. They have a couple of technical writer jobs. And I know they say they're in Maryland, but really a lot of things are remote today. So I would be curious about that. But the other thing you can do, so if I go back and just look at Boeing itself, hello, let's go here. Go back. Great. So if I go to Boeing itself, I can go to the people section. And this is available in the free version. I can go out and go, well, gee, who would be good contacts for me at Boeing if I wanted a writing job? Well, maybe somebody in communications, that could be useful because they're always looking for writers. Now I can come down here and suddenly I see that many people have communications in their title. I can see if I have a connection to anyone. Now I'm thinking if I really want to contact someone and form a relationship, I probably want to form a relationship with someone manager level and above because they're more likely to be aware of the projects coming up and where they might really need some writing help. So I come down here and I'm like, oh, I have a shared connection with the global communications manager. Well, let's go check this person out because that's closer than if I try to reach out to one of these third connections. Great, let me go see. So now I come and I check this person out. I can check out her profile and, oh, look at this. She calls herself a global communications manager, but she's an international communications operations manager. I can now see more about what she does. And I'm like, oh, look, she has to do things with international social media, global news, global events. Maybe I have some special skills in that area. So now I might want to reach out to this person and be specific in terms of, here's what I do. I see that you're in charge of this. I just want to connect with you and let you know about my services and see if we can maybe have a conversation. And now I can do it much more specifically. So you can do that without, and this is all available for free. This is what's so powerful about this. So if you have specific organizations, you're like, I wonder what they're doing, or where might they have something that I might fit in with? This is a way to reach out. I picked Boeing because if they laid a bunch of people off, they're going to need contractors to fill the gap because that's just how companies work. They still have the work to do. So now I promised Jeff actually that I would talk about the difference between the premium version, the paid version of LinkedIn, and the free version. And this is really where I see it's different. There are two features that are available that I think are super valuable. One is sale in the premium version. Now the premium version costs, I think they're down to just one premium version now, and it costs about $800 to $900 a year. There's a different monthly rate. I don't remember if it's an annual contract or not. So you have to decide if the return on the investment might be worth it for you. Sales Navigator is really helpful in terms of you can do, so where I just was able to do searches for companies, you can go into Sales Navigator and do a very specific search by a detailed profile of the type of person you want to reach out to. So, and I'm not going to do a lot with this, but you can, let's see if I can find, let's go to Save Searches and go to one of my, here we go. I was able to search for someone who works in Chicago, the greater Chicago area, works for a company where the headcount is between 51 and many thousands. I have their VP seniority level, what function they do. I could put in their job title. I can include the company they work for. I can include industries they're in. I can then see, have they been active on LinkedIn in the last 30 days? If they have, they're probably really more likely to respond to me. I can do searches for all of that and then individually message them. With the premium version, you can message more people in a given month. So that's one tool if you want to generate a list of basically qualified, highly qualified cold leads for yourself to reach out to and form relationships with and see if there might be connections that way. The other thing you can do, and this is a feature that I think is particularly and specifically useful to writers, with this premium version is a tool called ProFinder. Now, I use ProFinder all the time. I have not used Sales Navigator as much. It's something I intend to do, but I haven't done it so much yet. So here's how ProFinder works. People go out and they say, hey, I need help with writing something. And I'm going to show you, here are the writing and editing services that LinkedIn, these are the kinds of projects that LinkedIn lets people ask for help on. So there's a section called writing and editing, and there's like 8 different categories people can ask for help. One of which is writing, one is editing, and then there's some specific kinds of writing. So someone can go out, and I'll show you what it looks like. So they'll request some help. What happens is people can request, they request some kind of help. LinkedIn says, hey, you're looking for this kind of writer. It slams messages to all the people who said they are professionals available to help people with their writing projects. And you do that by setting up your profile and indicating what kind of services you provide, picking from their list. And then, so this is what you get. I come in and I see that people have looked for these kinds of resume writers and are an interview coach. So apparently this retired truck driver is looking for resume writing. Great, let me click on view. Now LinkedIn determines these questions. I don't know what these questions, I don't know what LinkedIn asks, but I see LinkedIn's questions and the person's answers. This is what they've said. Based on this, I can decide if I want to send a proposal or not. Now my proposals aren't, here's what I would charge you for your work. My proposals are always, here's what I do, let's talk about what you need and see if I'm a good fit. And then I include this 15-minute phone consultation offer. So if I like this person and think we could be a good fit, I'll put in my proposal, I'll click send, and then I wait to see if I hear back from them. I'm not interested in this person because I didn't like their answers to the questions. Now what happens then is once that person reaches, now initially you'll see I don't have their names. I only have what their headline is and their picture, and that's it. And then their request. Once they've responded to me, I get their name and I get a list of people whom I'm in conversation with. They have LinkedIn guides them on how to respond to me. I can see if my proposals have been reviewed. So a person seeking a professional can only get 5, they are limited at 5 proposals, and then they have to make a decision on those before they can get more. So you can see up here, this dock attendant has 3 so far, the master student has 1, the retired truck driver for interview coaching has none. So I can see, oh, if I'm gonna respond, I better get to these 2 that have 3. Those are more important because they're closer to getting capped at their 5. And then I can see information about if the person declined the proposal, if I passed on it. Honestly, I never look at any of those other things. I only ever look at what's available. Sometimes I come back to check their name if I'm in conversation. Maybe I'll check to see if things are viewed. Mostly I ignore it until somebody gets back to me. I have made more than my money back through client work over the course of a year, without a doubt. I think writing jobs are the kind of thing that people would use this for also. I mean, a lot of what I get are resume writer things, which is a writing job. So I suspect writing gigs are the kind of thing that you would be very good out here. So if you were gonna, and I would probably use ProFinder first because it's way easier to figure out how to set up, and then pretty low maintenance. I spend maybe 15 minutes a day on it at most. So that's my assessment of what the real value is of the premium version. So recapping the keys, use those crucial sections, headline, about, and featured, showcase your company, engage with leads, and decide for yourself whether the free versus paid version is the best way for you to go. There are other features I have not had time to talk about that also may be useful to you. So don't think this is it, but these are definitely the most impactful ones. I want to give you a really quick version. I know we're kind of running past the top of the hour here, on the strategy. Basically, keep in mind for keeping active on LinkedIn makes LinkedIn's search engine return you higher in their results list. So consistency is better than perfection on LinkedIn. My recommendation, and it's really not a lot, is that you post twice a week on your personal profile. and once a month on your company page. And you can make the company page post the same as one of these posts that you do throughout the month. It doesn't have to be different. It doesn't really matter. As writers, you should be publishing an article, and I recommend at least monthly. 500 to 700 words is kind of the LinkedIn Pulse article ideal length that they get the best results from. That's their statistic. So I recommend that you write one of those a month. And then you can feature that in your featured section. When you're putting posts up, always, because you're writers, I want you to always write something. Sometimes add pictures, sometimes add a video. You don't have to do it all the time, but if you mix it up, you'll get better results. And then honestly, you can support each other in the easiest way by just liking and commenting on each other's posts. That will also boost your individual results and your visibility in LinkedIn. So that's kind of, I've gone through this pretty as quickly as I could. I'm hoping this was of value to you. I'm going to open up in a minute for questions. And I just wanted to let you know, I typically do this work one-on-one with clients, and I will, for many of my clients, I will write their profiles for them and I will help them walk through everything. You all are writers. You're going to write way better than I ever could. And the reason why your profiles, many writing profiles I see, aren't as good as they can be is because while you're exceptional at writing, you don't know how LinkedIn itself works, what the structure is you need, what are the elements you need to be taking advantage of. And that's where my expertise comes in. So I offer an in-depth profile and strategy review with recommendations that I do for as a service. I do an hour conversation by Zoom. I record everything so you have it. Typically, I charge between $300 and $500 for that, depending on whose profile it is and how much work there is. But I want to make that available to you for $197. If you're interested in that, you can just go to this link, bookme.lorihowardcoaching.com/iWalk, and I will make that available to you. I know that once we get, it allows me to go through your individual profile and focus on your specific challenges and help you really make the most out of LinkedIn. And I know, like, you're writers, you're going to be rock stars and your profiles are going to be better than anyone else's ever, not just other writers, but like everyone's. And that will be, and that's what's going to get you work. And that's what's going to make you appealing and attract really leads and gigs, all the leads and gigs that you want when you want them. So I'm going to open up for questions now. Thank you so much for sticking with me here. I'm hoping this was valuable and helpful for you to see all of this. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura and Jeff to see if they're to manage the question.
Yeah, I could. Thank you, Lori. I thought that was extremely invaluable. A lot of stuff I did not know. Some stuff, yes, but a lot of stuff, no. I see we have a question from Nancy Solomon. Now, Nancy, if you want to unmute and ask yourself, but Lori, can you read her question?
Can I read it? Oh, how do you get people to link to your personal page from your company page? People are more likely to find your personal page than your company page. So if you mean like third parties, they are more likely to find you. Well, they can link to your. So people are far more likely, if they search for someone, to find the person of you than the company of you. However, from my page here, you can see, let's see, let me go view as a member. So that's a LinkedIn member. I can come out and see the people. And then look, I'm the only person. Now I'm at my personal page. So someone can come into my company, and I can do that for Jeff in a moment here. Let's see if I can find his. Let's see, I think. So Nancy, I see I'm not sure if I answered your question here.
Okay, so am I unmuted? Because I'm trying to read. What I meant, Lori, what I meant is, do they get caught in some sort of prompt where they can't get out again? If they go from my personal page to my company page, can they get back to my personal page?
Oh, yeah. So if I went to, let's go to Jeff's page for the moment. since well, I can't really go to his company page from here. So what would happen, if you would come down here, you would click on his company page, you would go to his company page, and it's just another browser thing. So you can easily come back. If I do it on mine, I click this, I go to my company page, I click the back button, you're back to my personal page. It's not that, it's not taking you out of LinkedIn.
Well, are people sophisticated enough to know how to do that?
Yeah, well,
maybe
they check that, they'll check to go back and to get back from there. Sure.
okay.
Okay. We got the questions coming in fast and furious.
I have a question also about accepting invitations because
yeah. So do I accept, so when someone invites me to connect, this is a good question. I do not accept everyone. What I do when someone messages me, you'll see I have a stack of invitations for people I'm just sitting on at the moment. Like this. Some of this is just, I get more, I feel like spam than not. So what I do, so here's someone who sent me a message. Hi, Lori, it's great to meet you. We're both whatevers. So I would reply to Mike, and I have a message that I send that says, basically, I'm just going to do this right here. See, I have it saved where I can quickly grab it because, and I typically do something like, let's see, I'm trying to move things out of the way. Oh, I'm not sure I can find it. Oh yeah, here's my invitation response. This is what I do. I copy that. I paste that as a message right in here. And I say, hi, Mike, thank you for your invitation to connect. I'd like to get to know the people in my connections. Tell me more about yourself and what in my profile prompted you to want to connect with me. I look forward to it.
Oh, that's so
So
good.
I do that, and I wait till I hear back from Mike before I make a decision about connecting. And if Mike tries to sell me, I'm in the camp of no. Like if Mike doesn't actually want to get to know me, now sometimes, I don't know. I mean, I still think it's a fair question because I want there to be a relationship, and I only want to connect with people who understand how to build relationships. So I will do that.
So the ones that say, I like your smile,
I usually
say this is not a dating service, and I
usually just say no.
Okay.
Right. Someone else. Yeah.
Heather Kenny, do you want to say your question or according to the chat?
I didn't have a question. I was just adding some context.
You haven't. Okay.
Okay, Mark Miller, are there any LinkedIn groups that are especially valuable recommended for writers?
Oh, LinkedIn groups. LinkedIn groups are currently not one of LinkedIn's best features. They're still sort of in this little side section. They gutted all the functionality of LinkedIn groups, and then they've simplified them. To that end, I don't know. I would go and search groups to see the only way I know of, I don't know of any groups for writers that are good. I think my recommendation would be to search LinkedIn, check out the groups, join the group, see if you like it. If you don't, leave. I don't know of any way to test out groups other than to be in the group and see how it works.
There's also meetup groups too. I mean, you might want to try.
Right, which is different from LinkedIn.
Mark,
but in terms of LinkedIn groups specifically.
Right. Mark, you wrote me a few questions. Did you want to ask any more? If you just unmute. Mark? Okay, maybe not. Okay, Robert Snyder. Great stuff.
I'm sorry, can I still ask?
Sure.
I was just wondering if in addition to the business profile that you told us about, Lori, is that the limit, a 2 profile limit, or can you do another one if you were further targeting or specializing your profiles?
So generally, I recommend you have 1 personal profile. LinkedIn I think they let you have more than 1, but it gets really tricky. You can have lots of connections. LinkedIn company pages, I've seen no limit. So you could set up multiple company pages, each with a specialization. And then and you'll see one of the things, let's go, if you look at my profile, I did something you'll see that I work for multiple of my own companies because I have some different things I've done. So there's this company. multiple jobs at the same company to highlight the different services I provide. Then I have another company that, so you could set up multiple companies and just set them all up in parallel to highlight different specialties. I would recommend that you take your profile and target, you're going to need to focus your marketing on kind of one thing at a time, and then you can switch it out. But your about section then can list multiple things if you want, and then you'll pick which
And
one.
am I correct in assuming that the company profile is 95% the same information is on your personal profile?
Yeah. I use the same information there. I just don't have my work experience there. It's literally just the about section and my headline. And I saw no reason to change those. If you wanted if you wanted your company pages to highlight your specialties, you could make those different. In order to, I mean, for me, I am the company I'm showing here and this are one and the same. So it's just a way to have a company page. So
Thank you.
yeah, great.
Robert Snyder, you're up. Did you want to say, ask a question?
Sure. Thanks very much, Lori. Great stuff, first of all. So thank you tons. So question I have, and I'll thank Heather as well for her response in the chat window. I am relatively new to posting these 500 to 700 word articles.
Yeah.
And the responses and the feedback that I'm getting from these 5 or so coworkers who are responding, it's all positive. So I think that the substance is respectable and good, but I just feel like the quantity of eyeballs that I'm getting is really low.
Yeah.
So is there something I can do tactically?
So, well, there's a couple of things you can just do within LinkedIn. I mean, I'm not sure. So once you write an article, one, if you're following LinkedIn's recommendations, so they recommend you have an image, they recommend a certain number of pictures and a little bit of structure. That information is somewhere available in LinkedIn. I'm not sure off the top of my head where it is. The other things you then can do, make sure you share that article periodically as a post. Here's something I wrote. Here's a quote from my article, and here's the article. Share it as a post so that more people can see it. The other thing you can do is highlight it in your featured section. You know, and even if you don't really care if people see it, but you just want it in the featured section, put it further down the list.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I would do, so if you're using it within LinkedIn, LinkedIn's going to like it more.
Got it. Okay. So share as a post. One person recommended that I share it only with my immediate connections. Don't share it publicly. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not aware of any big difference in those.
Okay.
Well, I would be more inclined to share it publicly. I mix it up. I share some things publicly, some things just with my connections. Most things I share are more public. I don't know. It's possible it responds to things differently. Do both.
Yeah,
I mean, I would share it repeatedly. Because keep in mind with LinkedIn, man, it's hard once something goes off. Like once you've posted something, if people missed it, it's really hard to find it again.
Right.
So you have nothing to lose by posting it again, and then post it on your company page.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Great. Thanks, Robert. Next, Diana Schneidman. Diana, you can ask, or I can just read it. Diana.
Go ahead and read it.
Okay. Does LinkedIn require you to go to linkedin.com to see if you have any responses, or do you receive contacts and such at your email account?
You should be able to set it up to send things to your email account.
Okay.
Although I go to LinkedIn all the time for the messaging, because you really, if you're engaging with people on LinkedIn, you want to be checking and responding promptly.
Okay.
But I think you can set it up. Anything can go to your email account. I had somebody send me a private question, but I'm just going to answer this publicly to be clear. So LinkedIn Premium is the paid version of LinkedIn. LinkedIn Pro Finder comes with it's one of the things you get. It's one of the tools you get if you purchase LinkedIn Premium.
Oh, so you have to buy premium to get Pro Finder.
Pro Finder, yes.
Don't you have to buy Pro Finder as well? I heard there was
no. I mean, I think they used to sell Pro Finder separately.
Yeah.
I think right now they've consolidated things, and so there is free.
Okay.
For this kind of context, and then the premium version has Pro Finder and Sales Navigator.
Okay.
I mean, I probably wouldn't pay money for one of them alone anyway. I'd want them both because they're both.
Hi, this is
useful in
Heather.
their
I just came into this. ProFinder I think is free, but after like
own.
I think you can see like 8 or 10, then you can't see it for free anymore.
Oh, that could be. I have a paid version of that includes ProFinder.
Yeah. Heather, was that a while ago or is this something recent that you know? Because I know that's what you said. I know people had experience with a couple months ago, but Lori's saying things change daily. So I just wondered if that's still the case. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, this was recently. I mean, you can still see them, but to put a proposal, you have to pay.
Okay.
Mm.
Alrighty then, Flo Selfman, do clients have to post recommendations directly onto LinkedIn, or can you post a testimonial on your own LinkedIn page?
So for the recommendation section, you can only get recommendations from a first connection for this section right here. However, this is why I love the featured section. If they have written you a testimonial anywhere, this is a snapshot from my website. This is a snapshot. I have snapshots from Facebook. I have snapshots from email that I'll just take literally a screenshot and put it in here. And like I was saying, I have a client who she just had a letter. Somebody sent her a letter that said lovely things about her. So she took a photo and she uploaded it.
Now, do you have to get their permission to post it? Whoever wrote that?
Well, that's probably a good idea, but if they've written you a letter of recommendation, they're already assuming you're going to show it to someone.
Well, not even a letter. I mean, like I get an email, say with a compliment.
I would get their permission, or I would blur out their name if I don't have their permission.
Okay.
The things I have, I already had permission to publish, but that's probably a good idea to get their permission. I mean, you don't want them to, it's always good to check.
Right. What I like about that is that you can just take the photos. Is that sometimes I'm a little bit shy or reticent about asking recommendations because they're busy and that kind of thing. So if they automatically write you something, great job or whatever, hey, you take the screenshot and put it up.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Sarah Powers, you can put your settings to get responses at your email, but not the whole test, just a snippet. Okay. I wanted to get to, okay. Sarah Powers, what are difference between LinkedIn business versus personal subscriptions?
They change these things all the time. I try to look up what's currently available. I have, well, let's see, let's just look at my account, shall we? Let's go look. Can only tell you what I have. I have a premium subscription setting, and every time I try to look up premium versions, I end up really finding that there's just, let's see, switch. So I have Sales Navigator Professional, which is just under $800 for the year. And let's see if I switch plans, what are my options? So there's not really, I don't really have a lot of choices here. And I couldn't find, and so Sales Navigator comes with ProFinder. Now there might be another, I probably wouldn't get the version that just had ProFinder alone. Like if I'm gonna do it, I want this so I have more options and more things I can do. I keep trying to look up what they're doing. They seem to keep shuffling their packages. So I'm not entirely certain what is available today.
Okay. But boy, you better promote really fast and hard to make up for those prices though, I'm telling you.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to decide for yourself. I know over the course of the year, I get more than that $800 back because that's for the year. So I get more than that back over the course of a year in terms of clients.
Well, that's good.
But you'll have to, but that's the investment and you have to decide, and I've only been using ProFinder, and it took a little bit to get some traction in there. It really depends on, I had to learn how to craft my proposal so that I would get people to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn how to select people. And there's a bit of a learning curve. And that was really trial and error. So.
Right. Mark Miller has one. Are there other social media sites besides LinkedIn on which writers should have a promotional presence?
No, I would focus on LinkedIn at this point. Okay. Based on the current statistics, I would focus on LinkedIn, and I wouldn't spend a lot of effort on anything else, just because 80% of people are getting leads on LinkedIn for this kind of thing.
Okay. Okay, additional suggestions for finding freelance writing gigs? I do know iWalk on the members resource page, we have over 30 sites, job sites that do hire, and you can Google that kind of thing too. So, but Drew, is the writer's blog or LinkedIn best for introducing an article or book?
Say that again.
Is a writer's blog or LinkedIn best for introducing an article or book?
So I would use LinkedIn. I'd probably use both. I would say forget the rules of SEO in general and use LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn, they get different traction. It depends on how much of a readership you already have on your blog. Really, I think you're better off if you don't have a lot of traffic to your blog already, then I would go to LinkedIn first, because LinkedIn already has a vested interest in getting you attention and promoting its stuff.
And this is Drew. If you've not started your blog yet, what is the best vehicle for doing so?
Well, if it were me, I would put it in two places. I'd put it on a blog and I'd put it on LinkedIn. But that's because I have a blog. But I don't expect any traction on my blog. I would be, if I really wanted attention, I'd put it on LinkedIn.
On your what?
On LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Thank you so much today.
Yeah. And so here, like to do, all I have to do, somebody asked in here, what's a post? Where does it go? Here's a post. A post is a social media post. So I'll just say some, I don't want to just write something. I'm not, but these are all posts. This is what a post is. This one is a link to something. This one, somebody wrote something and then attached a picture. Here's mostly text and a chart. Those are posts. If you want to write an article, you click write article and it will take you to LinkedIn's article thing. Oh, and look, it also calls them posts. So that's nice and confusing for everyone. And then they have some guidelines for this, and then you can save drafts and you can decide when you're ready to publish. But I saw somebody had a question about that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. And now I don't think, let's see, I'm just looking. Okay, is there a difference between a post and an article in LinkedIn?
Yes. So a post, this is kind of what I was just, so if I go home, a post is just like this. This person has written, here's a little blurb, and then she attached a picture. This is a post. It's a short, it's just a short little thing, a statement, a little mini paragraph. I'm trying to think if I have anything. Let me go look at, my brain is, I don't think, usually I'd write one on the fly, but I'm not sure I could be trusted with that right now. So I'm not sure I'm coming up with any great original content. But like this is a post. Here's like 3 to 4 lines. And then this person linked to an article on their blog. So you could do that too. You can write on your own blog and then, and this is one of my clients, which is why I'm pointing to this. And then they did a link to their site, which pulled in a picture. So that's a post. An article is a full out 500 to 7, it's an actual 500 to 700 word piece you write. As a writer, I would recommend writing some things so that you're demonstrating your skills. And so people can see it.
If you write that article, can you then link it to other things, like a part of it to Twitter or something like that? Or yeah. Okay, we got to.
So I usually, in the articles I've written, I've put my contact information at the bottom. I have a link to my website.
Okay. And let's do one more question, and then Lori, I guess if you want to be contacted, maybe you can,
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think maybe was it.
We're at 90 minutes. We're at 90 minutes, Laura, so we should wrap it up.
Okay, well, we're wrapping it up right now. It doesn't look any more questions. But like I say, if you have any questions, you can contact Lori. Am I correct? if you don't-
Yes, and I will, let's see, I'm gonna pop my contact information. Well, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and I will give you my LinkedIn URL.
Okay, or now I have your email. Would you mind if,
Nope, you can use my email too.
so people could contact me at makeiteasypresident@iwalk.org, and I could pass along the email. Also, because we recorded this, we will be, I will have a link ready, and people can be able to review this because there was a lot of information here. So you can just contact me if you want that link. Okay. Jeff, thank you for arranging this. This is great. Lori, thank you so much again.
You are quite welcome.
Great.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for coming. It's great to see everybody.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're all,
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.